What's up, all my Power Addicts crew? Today's video, we're doing some rust repair. Back into the frame, if you guys remember me pointing out the fact that I had the big, huge gaping hole where the spring shackles are. Yeah, I think my dad said something to the effect I was one pothole away from a broke frame, and that's a fact, I was. So what we're doing today is showing you how to put those weld-in plates in place, and the process to go through, to get them in place and such. Now, I'm going to tell you guys up front, I'm doing this intro at the end of me recording and process it, putting these plates in place and stuff. Now, by me being up front, I'm meaning that I'm not actually going to weld them in place, because when I first started this little project out, I was going to do a stretch, just a short stretch right off the back of it. Then I discovered that I had a lot more tubing left than I originally thought, which therefore given me the ability to do a full back half cut on it. So I'm going to show you guys where to put the plates, how to tack them in, how to position them, all the metal work prep stuff, but I'm not actually going to burn the welds in, okay? Because there's no point in me destroying $35 pieces of metal just to try and cut it off and throw it all in the trash. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money. So, with that being said, if this is the first time you guys land on Power Addicts YouTube channel, you might want to subscribe. Because I do Jeep videos, car videos, motorcycle videos, tool videos. You never know. Something educational, but it's a good video. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. So let's tell you what. Let's get on with this. Okay, here's the first thing we need to do. You need to get your Jeep up high enough that your suspension is a full drop. So I've got the wheels off my Bronco. What? He owns a Bronco? Yes, I do. You'll see it one day. My jack, I'm going to put it under the diff, and over here. And the reason I'm doing that is because the jack stands alone isn't going to get the body up high enough or the frame up high enough to put my suspension in full drop to unload everything. So I jack it up high enough, raise up my jack stands, lock it under the frame, and we'll be good to go. Yeah, I've actually had the Bronco for many years. It's an 86 model 4-wheel drive. Not the most pristine rig ever, but it's still a good running rig. And it's going to be, you'll see it eventually, because it's going to be the tow rig for this thing right here. But you will see it eventually. It'll be cool. Alright, let's get the thing jacked up. Okay, somebody's going to be spazzing out. Don't use wheels for jack stands because the bottoms of it doesn't work out well. I agree with you for the most part. I've got several sets of jack stands. But these particular ones fit inside these wheel spokes so perfectly, it's rock solid. So, see, got it butted up, get the frame, got it extended. We're good. Let's get the other side. Got her all nice and sturdy now. Looky right there. Slip yoke eliminators in. Video coming soon. Check it out. Spin the tire, pinion turns, notice the other tire's not turning. In hot rodder terms, that means you got a dog leg rear end. In nerdy technical terms, it's an open differential. It's a Dana 35, what do you expect? Okay, you guys seen the last shot that I had the jack stand set up way high, I had the tail pointing straight up like that. Then it dawned on me, it's like really that what you guys don't realize in this video is that not only am I going to replace some metal back here, but I'll have to point out as I go through the video, I'm setting it up to stretch it. I'm going to put about 8 to 10 inches of stretch on the back end of this thing. Stretch means, for the people who don't know, I'm moving my back axle backwards 8 to 10 inches or so. And that will determine, once I start getting into it, where I'm going to end up putting it. So if I were just replacing this, I don't care. It wouldn't make any difference to me how high the tail end was up or down or whatever. It wouldn't make me no difference whatsoever. But since I'm going to stretch it, what I'll have to do is, not only I'm putting my spring out here, I'm moving that back, plus I'm extending the back end of this here. So by me doing that, I really want a reference angle. As you can see on my angle finder here, that I've got everything back here is zeroed out, which means I can project straight back to keep the center line of my spring eye here either extended straight back and keeping it parallel or straight or whatever you want to call it, or if I want to move it up and down, I can do that. But at least if I were to draw a center line of that right there and bring it back, I know I'm still in line. So hence the reason I bring it down here. Now again, if you guys were doing nothing more than just replacing that metal right here, all you got to do is jack that tail end up high enough to be able to drop your leaves down to get into this metal right here to replace it, weld it, and all that fun stuff that you got to do. So what I'm going to be doing is, as I build it, there's going to be certain points of the video I'm going to say, for those of you who are patching metal, do this. For those of you who are going to stretch, do this. Now I would love to say I'll do a back half kit, like from Moto Build or something like that, but that's not really in the cards right now. Later on, sure, we'll see what happens. Because this build is going to be like an evolution type thing. Right now, it's got to keep the stock engine, stock transmission, but I'm going to bring the back axle back because of what I want to do with the cab. The rear diff is pretty much in the way because of where I want to put the cab, bringing it around. So, hence the stretch. Slip yoke eliminator because of the stretch, because of the tummy tuck that's going to happen. Tummy tuck bringing the skid plate upward. So you guys kind of getting clues as to what's going on. Look at that, I'm turning loose the secrets, really. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago about doing the stretch, here's the kit for Moto Build. I say kit, I mean, each one of these parts you individually order, or you can order the stretch kit for the YJ, totally your call. But I'm going to do the back end kind of the way I want it, in a way I guess you might say. So here is your new front spring purchase, which will replace those right there. Those will go away. These will replace them. Then there's your new bushings right here that's going to hang out from the back end of here. Those are the brackets that's going to be welded onto that tubing right there to support the back end. They're boom shackles, which will be pivoting off of those right there, which comes down to your leaf springs. And that here, like I said, that is the kit that does replace that one. I say that's a kit because this is how you receive them. They're just in parts. You put them together, you weld them as you want them. Well, they only go together one way. So what you do is, notice how the taper comes in like this. The taper comes in because it tucks into the frame, and you weld it to the frame. Then the spread is the width here for your leaf spring to fit inside of. So it goes from like 2.5 inches to 3 inches. And it's got that little bit of a curve in it right there that fits up to the frame. Solid kit. I mean, it's some pretty heavy duty steel. So as you can see, it's kind of had held together there. So that's what we got going on. So first thing we need to do, now for everyone doing a stock configuration, meaning you're not stretching it like I am, what you need to do first is take out that nut. That bolt right there is going to go through the frame here. It's going to go through that bushing inside here. It's going to come out this side. And bless you, hope it works. Because oftentimes what happens is inside there is a metal sleeve like this. What I've seen more times than not is that bolt will rust to that sleeve. Now, y'all gonna be, some of you people are gonna be out there, well, you need to throw heat at it. We need to put PB blaster on it. Well, let me tell you something. I have done many diffs and stuff like that where I'm pulling bolts out of there. If that bolt is seized to that sleeve, I promise you one thing, it's not coming out. Because you'll end up having to cut it out one shape, form, or fashion. So for my purposes, I'm not going to cuss it and all stuff like that. I'm just simply taking it out. I'm going to take the plasma cutter, slice that sucker. But for everyone who's doing a stock patch, you will have to take all this out. You will, if you get lucky enough to push that bolt out, great. If not, you'll have to cut it. You can probably cut your shackle right there and get you some new shackles, grind your bolt stuff off, then get your take your bushing out. So, yep, I'm gonna get the plasma cutter and start chopping so I get ready to do my stretch and show you guys what you need to do to put that plate in. Now, to everyone that keeps asking what to do with track bars, do you need them, do you not? Let me answer that question very clearly, what to do with track bars off of a YJ. Y'all missed it. I set my Jeep on fire again. Snap that sucker off like that right there. That's where that bushing caught on fire inside there. And once you get that track bar cut off, here is what you do with it. Both of them, be done with them. Now, another thing I want to point out, when you're taking out your shackles and you get them loose, if you don't get enough axle drop to get in here to work like you need to do, take your shocks loose right here. Take those loose, pull the bolt out, move the shock out of the way. That should give you some more axle drop so you can get in here and work it and get everything done like you need to. But like I said, where I'm doing the stretch, I'm actually taking this Dana 35 out and there's an 8.8 going in. I'm not going to use these springs because I'm doing the stretch. I got to use Jeep Cherokee springs. So I'm removing the springs that got to go. That rear diff is going to go anyway because the 8.8 is going in. Look, Ma, no springs, no axle. Again, no, you guys are just doing patch stuff. You do not have to remove all this. Pull the bolt out of there, out of your shackles, let your rear end drop, and that should give you enough clearance to take care of business as you need to. You may have to take your shock loose to allow a little bit more drop, maybe, maybe not. So yeah, for people who's watching this just to patch this in, you do not have to remove the rear diff completely. You do not. Now once you get the bolt out, use the back side of a 3/8 extension, drive that sleeve out. And you'll see it coming out. I've already passed it a couple times. It's starting to come out right there. So it's working its way out. But we're going to have to take that bushing completely out too, because whenever you, and the reason why is once you start welding all that in, you're going to run a bead around where that collar is to where that bushing comes in. You're gonna set that bushing on fire. It's just simple as that. So you will have to replace that bushing, so you might as well get ready to take it out. Now I've already knocked the sleeve out of this one, so let's get the bushing out now. Take a screwdriver, wedge it back up inside there. Yeah, very good. Pry back on it. If you get really lucky, you'll start working it out. Come on now. Come out. Come out. You do it. It's gone. Because you can see that the bushing is actually 2 halves. There's the other half. Then you go on the other side. Push down the screwdriver. Wedge it up inside there. Pull back. Get it broke loose. Pry it up in there. Pull. Prime it a little again. And just keep doing it until it pops out. Dang it. Get out of there. Go to the other side. Anyway, you got the point. I'm going to use both hands here and go. Well, mostly just because I'm holding the camera and so I can get in this way. Keep working on it. Keep working on it. It's almost there. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. That gone. And there it goes. We got a hole in it. And here you can see that your bushing is actually 2 halves, because you can actually see the part numbers molded to the end of it here. So if you get really lucky, like for instance, I used impact on that right there and brought it out pretty easy. So if you get really lucky and that metal sleeve is not seized to the bolt here, you can get it all apart. And I mean, if you really feel froggy and want to, you can reuse your bushings, I guess. I wouldn't, because they are crazy cheap, people. So just go ahead and replace them. Now we're going to get ready for the metal prep. We got the flat plates we're going to lay up here, but we're not going to do it on top of all this rust. We got to get all this off so you get a good solid bite for your metal whenever you weld everything in. I realize I've got to go over there. I got to cut the exhaust hanger off on that. Well, hopefully I might get lucky and just take the bolts out. Right there is a stainless steel plate that's welded in. I got to cut the top of that mess off and get ready to patch that in. But nonetheless, let's get to work on the metal prep. I took the tip of the plasma cutter and come through and shaved the top of that weld off, saved me some grinding time. Now come back with a grinder and dress that weld up, got it down flush. The reason I cut that completely out is because it's a hole all the way through the frame right here. And plus that laps all the way down at the bottom. So what I want to do before I get too froggy taking that out, that's provided, even though it's a crap weld, it's providing some reinforcement. So if I can get this side plate in and that top plate in before I put this plate in, before I cut this right here out to put the side one in, they'll give some strength and rigidity to prevent anything from shifting, moving, or anything like that. Cool. So to clean this mess up, Harbor Freight had this thing right here on sale, and it's called a scaler needler. There we go. Mini needle scaler. That's it. Basically what you do is you hook the air onto it, and it vibrates and it hammers and chisels all this crap off. Want to see it in action? It's pretty cool. I've already played with it some right through here, and it does a pretty good job at knocking off the big scale stuff, but you're still going to want to come in behind it with a wire brush or even a flap wheel to dress the metal up, get to prepare for welding. And it makes short work of the hard scaling stuff. It does pretty good. You still got to come back over top of it with a maybe a wire brush or a flap wheel to really get it down to where you need it to weld, because you don't want to weld on this mess right here. You would have zero strength. So still got a lot of work to do to prep the metal, so I'm going to break out the flap wheel and do some damage. Before, after. Now, why did I paint that? That's a good question. That's actually like a primer slash rust encapsulator type stuff. To think about it, I'm going to weld those plates on through here, and then behind those plates, in between the plates and this metal right here, it's going to be bare metal. So I at least want to seal the metal up where I was doing all the grinding to just prevent any more rust than I can. I mean, yes, I know it's almost kind of putting lipstick on a pig, but still. Try to prevent as much as possible. Now, some of you are thinking, well, if you've done painted, you can't weld it. Come on now, think about this. I'm gonna come back once the paint dries, grind all the places down here that is gonna have a weld. Because I'm gonna have seam through here, of course on the other side as well. Weld here, then the bottom plate comes in through here, and there's a hole right along in here somewhere. That hole is gonna be located to where I'm gonna run a bead around it as well and bring it this way. So you want to seal your metal up as much as possible. Now while this is drying, I'm going to get over and prep that one up. I was doing the edit on the video, and I realized the part where I took the wire brush to the frame to come back with the flap wheel and grinding rock to smooth out the frame to weld to, that apparently my camera took a dump on that spot and it didn't record it. So I'm going to this section of frame right here, since I've already back halved it here and I'm just doing some other rust repair, I thought I'd demonstrate what I did since I got cleaned up anyway. Massive wire brush. Oops, don't hit the camera. Okay, after you get that kind of snugged on there, make sure you're wearing safety glasses, because these little wire bristles right here, they come flying out, they're like little spears hitting you in the eyes. And also, before I get started, hand protection. And notice how flaky this right here is. You just take the brush, hold on to it tight, because you don't want to kick them back on you. I went all the way around the frame, both sides, top, bottom, stuff like that, with that wire brush. You see it pretty much takes it down to the metal right there, because I rolled that edge just a little bit right there. So then you get your flap wheel, which I have over here. Actually, I need to get a better one because that one's wore out. Be right back. Then we take a wire brush off. Oh, be sure to unplug your grinder before you do this. Forgot to mention, which I have done. Got eye and hand protection back on. And yes, I can scrub that frame right through there, but if you really want to take the brush and scrub it down really well before you lay the protective paint on it, it'd do much better. But I'm just kind of demonstrating what I did in a very lightweight manner. Now I took the flap wheel, ground all that to bare metal through here, top and bottom. Now, being that I'm over here, I'm actually doing some different type of patching over here. I'm actually going to take the big rock and probably take the plasma, cut that out, and replace that. So that's kind of a different issue, so ignore that part. But take all your edges, make them like this right here before you lay the protective paint, which is through here, because then you're going to come back and grind this right here off the paint to make sure you got a good solid bite for your weld. So, since my camera happened to drop that spot, I gave you guys a quick demo right here so I can get you guys the video. On with the show. You see it, I've got the paint over on that one. This was painted, got them prepped up, ready to grind off the paint here to weld in the plates here. Now, some of you's gonna notice where I cut this right here off. If you're doing a stock rig, if you're just patching metal, you do not have to cut those off. This whole back piece right here for me is gonna end up being gone because I'm doing the stretch, remember? So, this piece, you do not have to cut it off. I did it because I was getting in there prepping all this stuff like that for my modifications where I'm doing the stretch. So you do not have to cut this off. I know I keep repeating myself, but I just want to be sure because I don't want someone saying, well, I did that, I cut it off and I shouldn't have. Well, don't cut that off. So, anyway, time to start prepping up the plates. Get ready to tack them in. But once your paint dries, you can set your metal up here. And you look how I've got the hole here is centered with where the bushing was originally. So therefore, whenever you get your start putting your welds in, you can weld right in here and hit that ring and re-brace that ring or reinforce that ring. That's what I meant to say. And back here, you get your oval cut out. Then intentionally it's cut open like that, but so you can get weld all the way around through here. So take your sharp edge, scratch all the way around that. The paint's hard. So whenever you get everything marked out, then you kind of pretty much know where you need to grind the paint back and how far, because you want to grind the paint back probably a good 3/8 of an inch below the metal here, because honestly, once you start burning your weld in, you're gonna burn that paint back up inside there anyway. So as long as you got your paint ground back, it's going to burn back, but more than anything, it's going to keep from contamination of the paint getting up into the weld. So grind it back by 3/8 of an inch or so. That way you leave a good protective layer behind your new metal here, but you'll also expose enough metal here to get yourself a solid weld. Okay, you can see around the edges right here where I took off the paint. I used a flap wheel first to grind through everything, then come back with a wire brush, cleaned it up real well. And even under the bottom right here, got all that paint off so you can have a good clean weld as you weld all this in. So now I'll take and clamp the metal back in place and show you guys the series of where you need to put your welds in, then come back and burn it all in. Alright, got the metal clamped back in place, got this is centered, and I got another clamp up here because the metal wants to bolt outward just a little bit. So put another clamp here because you want that metal sitting as flush as possible with the frame. And what you want to do is put your tack here, put your tack inside there and here, and come in from the bottom, tack it right there. Check your fit through here. If you're good sitting, good and flush, tack it there. Check underneath here. Are you flush? See, I can barely hang my nail right there. So I tack it there. Rotate your clamp. Check my metal. Yep, I'm flush. Tack it there. Check my metal down here. Yep, I'm flush. Tack it there. Look my metal up here. I'm kind of sitting outward a little bit. So remember, up here we've got it tacked already. So let's move our clamp. We'll come down here. And as we tighten the clamp, it pulls the metal into the frame. You see, now we're sitting flush. So then we get in here, take your welder, hit your tack inside there. I say a tack, run you about 3/8 of an inch or so, a little bead. Now look, when I put the clamp here, it pulled it in tight on this. So run your little tacks on the outer perimeter of this. Don't get no weld inside here. This is where your bushing's got to go back inside. Remember that. If you get any kind of weld, or if your weld blows inside there, you swell this up, whatever, you can always get you some kind of a file, a half round file, and get in there and clean that out, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea to begin with, just to clean it out. So tack here, here, or even if it's just one here and here, just to get everything tacked in place. Okay. Okay, this is pulled in tight, but I'm just standing that radius right there. So go ahead and run your tack up inside here and right along in here. And that should hold the metal flat against this side here. And if you want to, you can get inside. Now remember, I cut this off because I'm going to do the stretch, and actually I've got something I'm going to tell you guys here in a moment. But if you can get your welder inside here like this, run your bead, a short bead right there, to tack that in. Once you get this side tacked in, then I would move my clamps, leave this clamp in place because you're holding primarily the metal here. Then put your C-clamp, move it, or if you've got up here already, if it's squeezing in good and flat, go ahead and run your bead inside there, a little tack. Looks like it's sitting outward a little bit. See if we can move our clamp in a little bit. Now I see what's going on. There is some right down inside there. It's standing up off the metal because of the factory splatter. There's a little bead right there. So you may have to, if you want to get all picky, you can grind that off so it sits flat. Otherwise, you see a little bit right there from the factory too. You can get in here, squeeze it in, tack, and get your side and run your little tacks around that too. And anyway, you got the point. Just keep your clamps moving, squeezing metal down, like this right here. See where it's bowed out? Move my clamp. I put it just before and bump it up on it a little bit so you get right close to the edge. And see, got that squeezed down, so I can run me a tack here, a tack on the end right here, which will hold that in place, and which also got everything flushed down through here. So run your little short tacks through here, get underneath here and check, and do the same thing. Once you get all your tacks, those short, and a tack, like I said, is like a 3/8 little weld, maybe even a 1/4 inch. Once you get that done, double check everything before you go to burn it in. Get both sides tacked in. Take your welder, just run your bead. Weld the whole seams in. Now, it's pretty heavy metal here. If I were telling you to weld sheet metal, tacks is all you'll do, because you'll warp the crap out of metal like this right here. If you run a continuous bead, it'll just bow up and all kinds of weird stuff if you're welding with a MIG. which what most people use is a MIG. So, but we got pretty thick metal here. Frame is pretty heavy, so I wouldn't sweat too much about running your bead all the way down through here. Now, once you get your bead run around this, take your grinder, clean up your welds, make them all nice and smooth if you want to, and you know, paint over top of. We'll get to the paint here in a little bit, but down here on the bottom, once we get all this right here tacked in, okay, I'm going to move a clamp around, and we'll get to the bottom right here and show you what to do with that. Okay, we've got the lower piece put in place, and you see right here is where the drain hole. Got it lined up here as much as possible because I've got a lot of metal going down through there. So what you want to do is, this bottom, once you burn the weld completely in, don't put your bottom plate in until you've got your bottom bead run all the way down through here and all the way to there, all the way to the end. The reason is you want to come back after you get that bottom bead burned in, take and grind it out smooth. Don't take a bunch of metal out, but you just want to grind it smooth because you want this to sit flat. So once you got, even if you just do like this, you know, just smooth out the bottom all the way down through there if your bead runs over like that. So get that bottom smooth where this bottom plate can sit flat against the frame, okay? Now the more weld you leave in there, the stronger your weld's stronger the metal's going to be, provided you got plenty of parent metal through here. So once you get that bottom bead run all the way down through there, grind it flat all the way down through the bottom, lay your bottom reinforcement plate in place, lining up your drain hole, and you want to do a little imaginary bend, so to speak, is right here where the metal, the frame bends up, bends like this. It goes downhill then straight. Obviously this is flat, so you want to kind of imagine if I was to go ahead and push that up flat, where would it hit? And you want it to fall just short of this right here, where the back cross member comes around and the ends right here. You want it to fall at least pretty close to that. Once you are happy with where you got lined up at, tack it. Make sure this is set flat back here. Run your tack right here. That's flat. You're happy with it. Shore bead right here. Tack on the back side. Come down. Are you still flat? Yep, sure are. Tack here. Tack here. Tack inside your drain hole right here. And I'm going to beat my camera up. Then now pay attention to your radius now. About right along in here is where you're going to run your last tack. And run you probably ½ inch at least bead right here. Then what you want to do, once you get that done, you want to start bending this upward. And I mean, one thing you can do is get you this big Mega Duty C-clamp. Go from here to here and keep tightening that C-clamp, which will bend that upward. And as you bends, and this gets closer and closer inside that radius, tack, 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 along that radius right there. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video, even though I didn't burn the plates completely in. Actually, I didn't even weld them. I didn't even touch them with a welder, didn't even tack them. Anyway, when I discovered I was going to back half it, I don't want to destroy $35 worth of metal just for the kicks and giggles, you know? I may end up using those pieces of plate elsewhere on the frame to patch in other bad places. So I would bet it better justifies the money to use them other places on the frame than it is to burn them in just for the video and to destroy the money. You know, it really is. I'm not rich, peep. Okay, so you might. I don't know if it'll be the video after this or not, but whenever I back half it. So I'm chopping the whole back end off, stretching it. It's gonna be really cool. I like it. I was really excited when I seen it actually had enough metal left over from a past project, and I was getting the back half of it. Yes! Anyway, everyone, if you like that video, hit me with a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, leave some cool comments or questions down below. And most of all, whenever you out there in YouTube land, have a great day. Peace out. Later, y'all. Here's y'all a sneak preview, a little bit of bonus footage. I told you guys those rust repair plates, I didn't want to use them, so I didn't want to destroy them, and there's why. Chopped right there, back halved. When I discovered I had the metal to do it, I had to do it. So there you go. That's why I didn't use the rust repair plates, the reason I didn't want to weld them in.